Greetings, fellow geeks. Welcome to Pretend Low Earth Orbit for Transmission 652 of Geeks in Space. I am Rob, Commander Taco Malda, and I'm joined by two of the greatest fellow pseudo-space dwellers you're ever going to meet. We have Chris DeBona.
Hi.
We have Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
Gentlemen, it feels like it's been nearly 3 days since we spoke.
It
Has
been.
Oh.
That is a true statement.
Oh, that's accurate then.
Time sure is flying, isn't it?
Time sure travels at the same rate. Since I guess, relatively speaking, we're all traveling approximately the same speed relative to the speed of light.
Well, what altitude are y'all at? I mean, space aside, if we're
as a matter of
different...
policy, I stay about 30 kilometers above SpaceX. Just because
I don't know exactly. The dial just says 6.
Oh, it has 6.
6 units.
It's been staying at 6 this whole time, so I figure everything's cool.
Sure. Right. Sometimes I scoop a little low to get Taco Bell.
Is there a Taco Bell orbiter?
Yeah, no, they fly them up to SpaceX. They gotta bring their garbage to the future garbage belt.
Yeah, when low Earth orbit just becomes a dumping ground.
It's gonna be a thing of disgust.
Okay.
What do
we
got
have
on the
so
list?
many stories.
We have nothing on the list this week.
August, boy.
That's all I was actually thinking really hard about that recently, and because it was the 10-year anniversary of the day I quit Slashdot a couple of days ago, and I was thinking I was smart to quit in August because nothing happens in August. It's a dead zone.
And I haven't been, I can't remember the last thing that I actually dumped into the channel. Oh, it was the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
That was a great story.
That's a great story, but that was on Tuesday.
It's such a Roseboom story.
Right.
Anyway, so the first one,
well, we got is this Magic the Gathering. Yeah. They had a Magic the Gathering TV show that's been confirmed for a while in production, but they've cast their lead. They've cast Brandon Routh, aka Superman, or what is he?
The Atom.
In the CW,
in the CW
shows.
Verse. Yeah. You know, he's a nice enough guy. Sure. You know, I can't begrudge him any success. He seems like a solidly nice dude.
You know who he reminds me of? Who was the guy? We just saw him in that ensemble TV show that the superhero show we all hated. It was like 10 episodes long, and everybody had like obnoxious cod pieces.
Jupiter Rising.
There you go. He reminds me of the guy that was the lead in that show.
Josh Duhamel.
Josh Duhamel, that's the guy.
Is it Josh Duhamel? It was in Jupiter Rising? Or is it the other guy he looks exactly like?
That's the guy. But these are actors who they're never going to be the Henry Cavill or the Tom Cruise, the guys who get to be the top above the line. And Brandon Routh got a shot at Superman. There ain't a lot of bigger apples to take a bite out of. And guess what? Didn't quite get there because there's a difference between the 18 charisma and the 17 charisma.
There really is. Well, and it's funny because wasn't his Lex Luthor Kevin Spacey?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's rough.
Well, back then that wasn't rough, but in fact, back then I think it was a pretty entertaining performance. But the problem with the Lex Luthor from that particular Superman is that the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor is so good.
He's so much fun.
He's just charming and enjoyable to watch.
Well, and wasn't the ultimate plot something to do with like creating big crystal icebergs or something like that?
Yeah, it was really dumb. And he had like a baby with the most boring. So, and your Kate Bosworth, same story. 17 versus 18.
Yeah.
You know, she's just not quite a good enough actor.
Yep.
You know, so it was like he was playing opposite of Border Wood. You know, and then they had a kid together in it, didn't they? And yeah, it's like so. Super Baby was that there at the end? And it's like,
so they're making Magic a show.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's just going to be nerds throwing cards that scream the whole time.
They've just imported a whole bunch of like the old D&D mythos into Magic the Gathering
in the most recent expansions.
I guess.
Yeah.
I've been seeing tons and tons of cards.
Hey, did we talk about your countryman at the University of Michigan copywriting his deck?
No.
No.
You didn't hear about this?
No, that's great.
Basically, somebody copyrighted their arrangement of cards. So
is that a copyright or a trademark? Why do you do that? That's dumb.
So in copyright, there is a concept of an assemblage copyright, but it's not very well respected in the courts.
Well, this is kind of like how in code they talk about how you can copyright the header file. Like that's the argument, right? Can you copyright
and we went to court
file?
for 12 years to show that you have to be able to read the header file without
it's a reference. It's a reference to it's a reference of the thing, not the implementation of it. But maybe a deck of cards is different.
Well, it's weird because every single Magic the Gathering card is copyright Wizard of the Coast or whoever, right? And so what he's copywriting is his arrangement of the cards. It's kind of like you can't copyright a collection of facts. So is this a collection of facts, this layout? I mean, I could see it being a trade secret. So like if he had the company and then somebody said, ha, I'm going to share your layout with these other people, that would be a trade secret. But even that's a stretch because anyone playing him is gonna realize the arrangement.
Once you play,
this is
you'll know what's in the deck, right?
Well, it's a hell of a story, though.
Is it his intent to keep it secret? Because that's not how that works.
I don't know. This story just seems to me like
you should go to his house. He's local to you. Go talk to him and see what's going on.
I don't think that I like that idea. He's an assistant professor of material science. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think that this seems like something he's just doing to screw with, or to show how shitty copyright law is, and whether or not it can work. So
I hope so.
Oh yeah, a known legal provocateur.
All right, he's punking people. Mm-hmm. Paste that URL in the channel for me, Chris.
I put it in the. I didn't hit return.
Yeah, put that in somewhere so that everybody can have glorious access to these bits.
Yeah, it's a August story though.
It's August.
Corey linked to it in his thing. What does he call it? Plurinet or
whatever the thing is that he's doing that's not boing boing.
Yeah, exactly.
I only see him now on Twitter because he's like the loudest. We were talking about him and Neil. They both tweet so much.
They do twaddle about. Corey does tweet a lot. It's true. But
well, it's their jam. A lot of folks on Twitter, I end up just having to mute for 30 days just so that I can see anybody else.
Yeah, I get that.
I have a lot of those.
I'll try to be more relevant. I apologize.
No, you're fine mostly.
Yeah.
You're interesting though because a lot of times I talk to you in the morning and then I see 6 hours later that you're doing a thing that's vaguely related to a conversation we had. It's like I got an inside window into the eye of Debona. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, so
like a pirate.
So OnlyFans changed their mind. Big shock.
Yeah.
First,
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I think if their goal, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Well, I was going to say,
I don't see a path forward for them if they couldn't host porn because that's what it's for.
That's what it is.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it. This isn't going to change the minds of the Visa and the MasterCards.
Yeah, well,
they
said they made a deal.
OnlyFans cares about it.
No, they said they made a deal. They said they negotiated something with MasterCard for some sort of exception. And so you can make you can take the cynical position that this was a negotiation tactic or a publicity stunt, or you can take a perspective of they were going to get cut off. That MasterCard was going to cut them off. And what do? You can take Visa and Amex, but that's going to last 6 months because they're going to follow suit.
Yep.
And then you take Bitcoin, and that was their only plan forward.
Well,
and then choice.
And then maybe a personal check.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because you want to give your your bank account information.
Yeah, you want to
OnlyFans.
definitely want
For
to
sure.
Send them an e-check.
Make sure they have your routing numbers and such.
Honestly, we're gonna have. So it's funny because MindGeek that runs the Pornhubs and the rest out of Canada. It's like they cut the same deal, I guess.
No, their deal ended up being different, kind of, because my understanding was basically they cut off paying anybody who they didn't like step through a verification process, so they could mitigate risk by. So now they only have like verified uploaders, because prior to that it was basically anybody could create an account and upload anything they wanted.
Well, that was in response to the lawsuit around the revenge porn.
I think it was all overlapping.
I'm sure there was some overlap. My question is, what's their deal with MasterCard Visa at Pornhub? And is that what OnlyFans was trying to get? And OnlyFans was like, I guess we'll just shut down and there will be no revenue. And then MasterCard's like, all right, fine. But like, the problem is people doing chargebacks, right? So is that going to stop? Are they going to change how they take money so that there's less chargebacks? I don't know.
I'm still not convinced that that was the core part of it, because there was a whole thing about how a group of people on the religious right were using those as excuses to put pressure on businesses as from a moral position and not necessarily from a financial one, because it seems like you can just add 3%, whatever, you add 3% surcharge for risk, whatever, you work out that math. That we've been doing insurance adjusting and actuarial tables risk assessment for thousands of years. I'm sure that when they built the pyramids, they could figure out how many of their slaves were going to die, and they had the math.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I still don't have an OnlyFans account, but I still think now we should start streaming Geeks in Space to OnlyFans.
I mean, wouldn't it smell funny?
I don't have a sense of smell.
That's right, you don't.
That's why it would smell funny.
For sure. So the Matrix 4 had apparently like 1 second of footage at a conference. It is officially going to be called The Matrix Resurrections. There's like one shot going around. It's got Neil Patrick Harris in it. Oh God. And there's one shot of him like doing a bullet time fall back kind of thing that's like been floating around the internet.
Yeah, I don't. Where is this picture?
It showed up on like Twitter and stuff. It wasn't in that article because the article was legit, and then the pictures were just like people who surreptitiously snuck out their phone and took pictures of the big screen at the event. So these folks would have presumably have been under some sort of NDA that says they couldn't share photos. There was another movie that
Okay, I'm just going to call it. This is going to suck.
You think?
It's going to suck terribly. It's going to make the last two movies look good. I don't think they can make this work.
Think about how good The Matrix 3 was, right?
So I loved the special effects in Matrix 3. Honestly, fantastic. The guy who plays Jango Fett in the mechs shooting the things, super cool. But man,
that whole franchise ran off the road very quickly.
Yeah,
because the first movie was so good, man. It came out of nowhere. It just like it punched you right in the face.
I saw that bad boy good. Opening night in the theaters with my then girlfriend.
I avoided trailers and news stories about that, so I would be completely just like gobsmacked, and it worked. It was great.
At some point, someone left their first year philosophy book inside the writer room, and the next two movies happened.
Yeah, man. Boy, it just went so far off the rails. I don't think they can recover it. I think it's done. We should just continue with the fiction that there's only one movie and not even. And the idea of them saying basically resetting it the way that they're talking about in the Deadline story.
Now, bear with me.
Leave it alone.
I'm kind of hoping what they do is transfer the consciousness of all the main characters into babies.
Ooh.
So this fourth one
Matrix
is just
babies.
Matrix babies.
That's a
Matrix
But they're
babies.
resurrected into new baby bodies.
Ah.
Okay.
Right.
That's the headline. Matrix Resurrections, Matrix Babies.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, that's
And then
you figured it out.
Instead of
Rosebud.
Agent Smith, there's some like really mean nanny running around the world. They have to
And
fight.
you only see her from the knees down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
This
you
is
don't
for
want to see,
Apple.
you don't want to see what timeout is in Matrix 4. I mean,
That's right.
yeah.
Go to your room and eat 50 blue pills.
So
See,
are
the
all the
problem
babies
is-
going to be in BDSM gear or something? I mean,
The problem is we three have just made a better plot for Matrix 4 than what Matrix 4 is going to be.
Oh, you're probably right.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you had 20 years to think
Rob.
about it, maybe you'd like care.
So, Rob, I hope you're right,
Me too.
but you're not. I hope
Okay.
you're right, though.
All right.
So it's funny because like I hadn't actually flicked over and read this article,
Yeah.
the deadline article that was referred to by the last article that we linked to from the site. And the first thing I see is that jumped out at me is that Neo takes 2 blue pills, and I'm like, why? Because he's really old and that's Viagra? I mean,
They undo.
you know, what's going on here? That would be a better plot, like the aging Neo, you know, dealing
Right.
with being an old man and his knees are a little sore and shit, you know. That'd be all right. You know.
So I
It'd be like Logan. Oh, like Logan this shit. I'm on board. But that's not what's gonna happen.
So here's the thing: is that in the decades since the last Matrix movies came out, I do think that there are good elements in V for Vendetta. There are good elements in Speed Racer, and there are good elements in Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
I feel like if you had 20 years to just think about that script and had the thing that I think that all of these folks get, which is when you have the mega hit and then somebody backs the dump truck of money up to you and nobody can say no. I just hope that in the 20 years, the producers, writers, directors, whoever's in charge said no a bunch of times and made the good ideas like be the ones that survived and the bad ideas die. I feel like that's, for the most part, that's one thing that Marvel movies are generally good at. The worst ideas usually don't make it out. There's exceptions, but
So
I feel
I'll
like they're
tell
not
you,
afraid to say no.
Speed Racer, visually incredible, but completely unwatchable.
It's a
But
mess.
like the
It's a
first time I
story
watched
mess.
it, I watched it just for the visuals. I love Speed Racer growing up too, man. And I was like, I want to see Trixie. I want to see the damn monkey. But it's like,
The thing that I'll say about Speed
V for
Racer,
Vendetta had parts that were genius, surrounding a story that was completely just like gibberish.
Speed Racer is
You know?
one of those things that kind of, I mean, actually, my background today, Into the Spider-Verse, Speed Racer is one of those movies that is trying honestly to play with the visual form of movies. The way that they do cuts and the way they do scene transitions.
Visually brilliant.
There's just, there's so much cool stuff. It does not all work. It just doesn't.
And I don't mind an experiment. So, like, Into the Spider-Verse worked because it was a fantastic script.
Yeah.
Merged with incredible visual experimentation, right? You know, it was just brilliant.
It's the holy grail, man.
But yeah. And the first Matrix,
Same thing.
amazing visuals,
Same thing.
terrific story. You know, it's like, it was perfect.
But it's also one of those things, like, that they had this idea, they worked on it really hard for a long time, and they said no, things didn't work, and they didn't get to the place where you're just like, here's $100 million, do whatever you want. That's when movies die. That's Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
It's Han Solo as an alien that looked like Greedo. Right? It's like, I'm so glad that somebody said, no, just use a guy. You know?
It's fine. It'll be fine.
Just use a guy.
That's right.
You know?
Just
George Lucas didn't have the power to say otherwise.
right. All right, let's see.
Nah.
I will watch that movie. I will be there.
Of course we're gonna watch it. We're idiots.
Opening night.
That's why they keep shipping crap, because we watch it anyway.
I know.
No, I think we went over this last
we did.
episode about how we like to bitch about everything, and we still, I've cut out 2 CW shows, so I feel like I'm a little bit in recovery.
Right?
Yeah, no, I haven't watched the CW show.
Unfortunately, I'm still watching the Superman.
Oh, really? I get that one episode.
Lois. Yeah.
Well, let's see here. Who would kidnap a space telescope?
This is a really interesting story.
I didn't read this yet. Tell me about it.
It's literally about piracy on the high seas as applied to very large, very expensive, pieces of hardware that you have to ship by boat. So they worry about piracy. And apparently when there was it's mentioned in the article that 1984, let's see, the JCMP, the James Clerk Maxwell Telescope in 1984, the steel structure for the observatory, okay, that was going to be going to Hawaii, right? It was built in England and was being shipped to Hawaii for probably the Keck installation. Anyway, so they hired a vessel. The vessel broke down.
Oops.
It got passed to another ship. The ship's like, well, I need to pick up some dynamite in like Holland, not Holland, Michigan, Holland. So doubles back from the Panama Canal to Holland, picks up this, shipment of dynamite, comes back to the Panama Canal, right? And they're like, hold on, you have a lot of explosives. We have to take it easy, right? You have to be in your own little lock system. I don't know what to do. But there were significant delays. He comes to Hawaii and he goes, and they're like, you're really late. Basically this is not your penalty fees are so much that, you're not going to make any money. He's like, well, then I'm just going to push this thing off the edge in international waters. and so the Coast Guard had to basically, go out to this boat and say, no, you have to bring that in. This is, we're calling this piracy at this point. Like, this whole story in here that's unbelievable.
That's crazy.
And so they're worried about this with the James Webb, which I guess they have to ship to French Guiana for launch. And it's like, wow, a lot of stuff going on,
Oh, I stress out in a weird way whenever we read about these sorts of stories, because this is billions of dollars of machine. It took
$10 billion.
It took
That's right.
Decades to build it, and it's not like like when they send up a supply mission, and you're like, well, yeah, there's experiments, but there's food and stuff, too. There's stuff that's expensive to replace, but ultimately, if one of those goes up in flames, then you just send the next one in 6 months, and everybody still has food and it's fine. But this is like $10 billion. This is 10 years. If this blows up, this never happens again. Like, we don't try again. There's no insurance policy.
It's really something. And my question is, are they using the now discontinued Atlas launcher? Because suppose there is a screw up and it blows up or something happens, right? They're not selling the Atlas anymore. They're done. They've used them all up. And so you can't book a new Atlas rocket, right? Which is a very reliable launcher. So is the James Webb going up on a ULA Atlas?
I'm sure that
so yeah, this is stressful, right? Anyway, and they're like, yeah, we don't tell people when we're shipping these things because we don't want to have them be pirated. And it's like,
it will be launched on an Ariane 5.
Oh, on Ariane 5. Okay, well, that's good. Here, let me paste the Atlas retirement story. That's pretty interesting. Get that into the channel for you.
Bam.
Right there.
Bam. The other story that I thought was interesting today was that Apple has changed their App Store policy. They notoriously did not allow you to make third-party purchases inside of an app. You had to only use Apple Payment, which of course meant that you couldn't subscribe to Netflix through the Apple app.
That's right.
But
they couldn't tell you to. They couldn't email you to tell you about it. Like, there were all these rules about what you couldn't even say outside the app.
Well, the one that made me the angriest, and it still makes me angry is comicology.
Sure.
I just want to read my friggin' comic book, but you got to do all your purchasing like on a completely different platform, and it's just a horrible user experience.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not a lot of profit in comicsology, right? So,
sure, and if you're going to have to give a third of it to your
30% to Apple,
right? That is more than the artists are getting.
It's pretty offensive.
Yeah, but they're apparently changing the plan, changing the rules as a tiny little sacrifice to the control.
Yeah, now you can email people and tell them that they can buy things outside the application.
Oh, how nice!
So isn't that good for you, Rob?
Yep. I'm practically.
No, it's not. It doesn't make any change at all for you.
No, it makes me grumpy. But I have a.
I'm just for the game, we're just not targeting this platform. It's just, first of all, not a lot of gamers, not real gamers. I hate to sound like that, sound elitist, but it's just not worth that trouble.
Well, every platform you have to support, it's cost.
Yeah, we're only supporting one. So.
Yeah. I mean,
people are like, "Hey, are you guys going to do a console version?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a lot of money." No,
I mean, I get it. I've been part of development teams that had to maintain Android, iOS, web presences. Yeah. It's expensive, and there's always one platform that is a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That was the last thing. What If this week? It was interesting.
I haven't seen the third episode yet.
All right. Well, it was What If basically all the Avengers died tragically.
Oh, goodness.
So there were never Avengers. It's cool. A little sad.
Yeah. Does Thanos just walk around the universe going snap, snap, snap?
They don't get that far.
Okay.
But they
Does New York fall to the space whale menace?
They just sort of end it with who will the different Avengers be.
Oh, I see.
You don't get your Tony Starks, so you got to get yourself a Brie Larson, I guess.
You get Stony Tarks.
Yeah, Stony Tarks.
Or maybe the Fantastic Four just take over.
Oh, can you imagine how great it would be to have an elastic guy and an invisible girl just like being the new leads in the MCU, Chris?
It's unfilmable. It's just maybe they can pull it off, but I mean, I'll watch it.
Of course, of course.
I watched the Dumb Fan 4-Stick movie. I watched the Silver Surfer movie.
You will watch Picard season 2 and Picard season 3.
Hell, I'm not sure I can. I did give up the CWs. I didn't watch them.
True.
So I have a little bit of steel in my nerd spine.
I'm watching Lower Decks.
Jesus Christ, seriously?
I'm gonna watch it, but I'm waiting till I watch it with my kids. But I can segment now. I have the new excuse. I can justify. Oh yeah, it's for my kid. I'm gonna watch something terrible because my kid likes it.
Yeah. They bring back Tom Paris in this one, huh?
Oh,
a fan favorite.
For God's sakes, are you serious? Probably only as Captain freaking Proton. God, so bad, so bad. Is that Lower Decks or is that Picard?
No, it's Lower Decks.
Oh,
yay!
And this is not to say that the actors are bad people,
or the production is bad people. I
will never in my life ever again watch a Captain Proton episode. It's just never gonna happen. Like I even smell a bit of Captain Proton or Photon or whatever the hell his name was. I'm out. Nope.
Don't hold back.
And Neelix, throw him into the chipper shredder.
Neelix makes me grumpy.
I love the one where him and the Vulcan merged and they were just one thing.
Right? What did they call him? Neil Spox or Neil? No. They gave him a terrible name.
Tuvix.
Tuvix. That's what it was. They should have kept that way.
And Ronald D. Moore worked on a lot of those episodes. I'm wondering which ones, we have to blame him for. Because I know that he sort of famously got washed out of Voyager for trying to make it too dark.
Sorry, just trying to make your show good.
He's like, what if we murder everybody? And it's like, that'd be a good start, Like imagine a Voyager where the entire bridge crew has been killed off except for Chakotay. It's like, and they have to bring up like all the people from the lower decks,
Oh.
and they were like, oh, we're not going to get home unless y'all help out.
Nope.
And it becomes like this ragtag sort of crew. And when they make it back to the Delta Quadrant or whatever, they're like, you guys pulled this off? Amazing. You know,
yeah, and they're like, yeah, we used every part of the old command structure.
Gross.
Just like a good Native American.
God, that show. I watched Annette, which is a musical.
Oh yeah, how is that?
It's rough.
Isn't that good?
It's rough. Watch the first like 10 minutes, and then like skip like an hour until you see the marionette.
Let me get this straight.
Yeah.
You, Rob Malda, are telling us something's terrible, and we should go watch it.
I'm telling you.
Given your taste.
Yep.
And your record of liking things.
Yep. Watch the first 10 minutes, enjoy the first couple of songs, then skip like an hour until you see the marionette, and watch.
Oh no.
Yeah. And watch a few minutes of the amazingly well executed marionette motion. It's beautiful. It's extraordinarily skillfully done. And and then that's it. So like 14 total minutes of this movie is all you need. And I also watched the Bob Ross documentary that just came out on Netflix.
Yeah, and apparently, I guess Bob Ross's family gets nothing.
Pretty much.
Man.
Yeah, it's a sad story.
It's a drag, you know?
It is. It's actually kind of funny because, I mean, not funny, haha, but they follow the kid, or his son, you know, and he's all like, I want some money. And they're like, well, it turns out there was a contract in like 1995, and the guy who like somebody just signed your rights away. Like, you have no legal standing because like 15, 16 years ago, this guy signed your rights away. Like,
who owns it? Is it like Vindabona Productions, or like the estate of Julie Garland?
It's Bob Ross Incorporated, and it was the There were a couple of people that were like the business side of the show, selling the paints and selling the tutorials or whatever. But they controlled all of the business side of it, and they edged out the kid.
Turns out the bean counters got the paperwork done when the kid couldn't.
That's right. Well, and also the kids, I don't know who it was. The kid got 49% of the estate, and somebody else got 51%, and the guy with 51% sold it, or sold the rights. And it's like, that kid has no choice. He's done. And he did it like in the 90s. So it was like 20 years ago. So like, sorry, kid. The kid never knew that the guy sold the rights.
It's also complicated and terrible.
Yeah, it made me sad because that's not cool. Like, that guy's kid should have something. Let's see. Is there anything else good? There's a new Ted Lasso today. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is back. I don't know how we feel about that.
I like that show. It's a very sturdy show. You know? A good workaday comedy.
That's the only stuff I had on my list.
That's it. We're out. We're grasping at straws. We're done.
We got nothing. We've completed our
we're not going to milk this like
Picard,
Matrix, and Picard. It's over. Over.
No way. They're going to make a new Matrix trilogy.
I'm going to stop presenting and everything.
All right, get that thing out of there.
Yeah.
Done.
There.
Bam.
Boom.
Now
Over.
it's just the three of us, and we're bigger.
Boom.
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
See you, Chris. And goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye.
I was Rob Commander Taco Malda. That was Geeks in Space. We'll see you Tuesday, maybe if you're lucky. Bye.